It was Monday Night Football here in the nation's capital as the Cleveland Browns came in to play the hometown Washington Redskins. A meaningless preseason game, folks. It was the second preseason game of the season, but it was a game that was being hyped up as Johnny Manziel versus RG3, the last two former Heisman Trophy winners, and we were entertained by a dud of a game. It was a game where you saw a lot of penalties, a lot of mistakes. At one point in the press box, I turned to some of my colleagues and said, you know, that the NFL is paying their referees per flag. I mean, it was that bad. Quarterback play wasn't exceptionally well either. Johnny Manziel finished the game 7-16, 65 yards and 1 touchdown, but he just looked erratic. He looked like the game was coming too fast for him. The Redskins put a lot of pressure on him. They had 3 sacks. And later in the game, he actually got frustrated. There was a time where the Redskins sidelines, guys were, you know, doing what they do in the NFL. Guys were talking trash and having fun, and he flipped them the bird. And it was seen on most outlets out there and reported. We talked about it in the locker room afterwards. And I think Johnny Manziel is a young player that has a lot of talent. I mean, he really does have some special things that he can do. But one of the hardest positions in all of sports to do is the quarterback spot. And I think for him, he's got to keep his composure, and he's going to have to learn that day in and day out and game in and game out that people are going to come after him because of the success that he had in winning a Heisman Trophy at Texas A&M. If you look at the guy that he's battling right now for that starting position, Brian Hoyer, he didn't do himself any justice either. 2 of 6 for 16 yards, didn't play well. So I think the Cleveland Browns have a quarterback controversy brewing here. I think for everyone that's in the Manziel camp and people who are in the Hoyer camp, you're going to have to wait one more game, I think, before the head coach for Cleveland makes a decision on who's going to be the starting quarterback. If you're the Washington Redskins right now, Robert Griffin did some things well. His intermediate game, I mean, he threw some great passes underneath, and he did seem to be looking over the field, which is a good sign for a young quarterback with a new coach in Jay Gruden, new offensive coordinator as well. So he looks to be a guy that can do everything that's asked of him, but he showed a couple times during the game that his legs are there, that he still can make the run if he needs to. I don't think Redskins fans want to see that, though. They want to see him stay in the pocket. He did show that. He also had some bad passes, and he also had a really horrific interception that he threw. Just lobbed one up to one of the better corners in the league, and Joe Hayden, who stepped in and took, came back like 50 yards on an interception return. So Robert Griffin needs to get better at certain things as well, but I think the sky's the limit for him. If you look at his backup, Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has a lot of fans here in the D.C. area, he threw a bad pass as well to Jim Leonard for Cleveland, intercepted and ran back. Kirk Cousins finished 12 of 21 for 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So I think the game as a whole was a sloppy game. It was the second preseason game, and I'm sure both teams will do better as week 3 in the preseason approaches.